Donald Trump just endured two crushing setbacks in a single day, and both underscore how diminished his influence has truly become. First, his bid to charge Democratic legislators fell flat. A grand jury dismissed his Justice Department's drive for charges. Second, House Republicans turned against him. Three GOP representatives aligned with Democrats to block a crucial procedural step, paving the way for ballots on abolishing Trump's tariffs outright. The leader who forged his administration on intimidation and reprisal is seeing both weapons erode. Let me begin with the prosecutorial flop because it highlights a critical truth about the boundaries of Trump's authority. Trump's DOJ, via U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, sought to charge Democratic legislators over a video calling on service members to reject illegal commands. The attorneys claimed this breached a law prohibiting disruption of the armed forces' allegiance, spirit, or order. The grand jury declined. The legislators in question include Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chris Deluzio, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, and Maggie Goodlander. These are the identical figures Trump vowed to subject to military courts. Mark Kelly saw honors revoked by Pete Hegseth. As though the defense secretary holds sway over an astronaut and national icon, Trump warned them with incarceration. He warned them with hearings. And when it reached a grand jury, the effort imploded. This is the routine. Trump issues bold warnings. They spark news cycles. Then they falter in practice. The identical pattern unfolded in Indiana when Republicans challenged him. The identical dynamic is unfolding now in the House. Trump's warnings are falling on unresponsive audiences. Individuals have ceased feeling intimidated. Now, let me present Trump discussing his tariffs today because it frames ideally why Republicans rebelled. I had an incident with a very nice country, Switzerland. They were paying no tariffs, sending stuff over here like nobody could believe, and we had a $42 billion deficit, and we weren't taking anything. I said, well, we have to do something because we have to even that up a little bit. I didn't have to get everything at one time, so I put on a 30% tariff, which is very low. Still, we were having a big deficit, but it was half the deficit. Then I got an emergency call from, I believe, the Prime Minister of Switzerland, and she was very aggressive, but nice, but very aggressive. Sir, we are a small country. We can't do this. We can't do this. I couldn't get her off the phone. We are a small country. Again and again and again. And I couldn't get her off the phone, so it was at 30%. And I didn't really like the way she talked to us, and so instead of giving her a reduction, I raised it to 39%. Is greater than is greater than. Before the Supreme Court, the administration has argued that tariffs serve a strategic national security purpose, that they're not arbitrary or self-serving, but part of a coherent policy. Trump keeps admitting that's not true. He uses tariffs like a mob boss. He doesn't care about the economic impact. He cares about leverage for personal gain and punishment for perceived enemies. The economic data confirms the damage. Every day brings worse numbers. Comparisons to 2008 and 2009 keep surfacing. Those were not good years for the American economy. And now Republicans in the House have had enough. Three lawmakers, Thomas Massie, Kevin Kiley, and Don Bacon, joined Democrats to defeat a key procedural measure. The vote was 217 to 214. That vote opens the door for Democrats to force a floor vote as soon as this week on a resolution disapproving of Trump's 25% duties on Canadian goods. Let me explain why this matters. For nearly a year, Mike Johnson has been blocking votes on Trump's tariffs. He's prevented any up or down vote from reaching the floor. His goal was to shield Republican members from having to take a public position on a deeply unpopular policy. A previous measure blocking tariff votes expired on January 31st. Johnson tried to extend it through July. Three Republicans said no. Now those votes will happen, and that creates a nightmare scenario for vulnerable Republicans. Consider Mike Lawler or any Republican in a competitive district. They now face a choice. Vote to keep Trump's tariffs and face campaign ads highlighting how they made life more expensive for their constituents. The average American family is paying an estimated $3,500 more annually because of these tariffs. That's not abstract anymore. People feel it. Vote against Trump's tariffs and face potential retaliation from a president who demands absolute loyalty. Trump could attack them, endorse primary challengers, or withhold party resources. Either way, they lose. And either way, Trump looks weak. If Republicans vote with him on unpopular tariffs, he's dragging them down. If Republicans vote against him, he's losing control of his own party. This is the worst possible situation for a president who relies on the appearance of dominance. Now, let me show you Bernie Sanders breaking down the economic reality Trump is facing. Well, Chris, as I understand it, the billionaire class has. Let me show you Bernie Sanders breaking down the economic reality Trump is facing. Well, Chris, as I understand it, the billionaire class has seen since Trump's second term began an increase in the wealth by over $1 trillion. Elon Musk himself is moving closer and closer to being a trillionaire. So the billionaires who sat behind Trump at his inauguration, yeah, the economy is the best ever for them. But for the average working person, not quite the case. Is greater than, and I know that one thing that I've been hearing a lot from Trump's people, they've been, very bullish on AI. A big reason I think that we saw all those tech oligarchs there in the White House and we saw Sam Altman there, I think, on day 2 of the administration, is they don't want any regulation of AI. They want to, there's a sort of symbiotic relationship. And one of the things you hear is greater than from all sorts of folks is, yeah, this is going to replace a ton of jobs. It's probably going to make profits and efficiency go up and the job market get worse, and we're just all going to have to kind of take that's what's coming down the pipe. But here's what I think, Chris, and it's the reason why I'm going to introduce legislation for a moratorium on data centers, and data centers are the infrastructure for AI. I think we have not a clue. We are totally unprepared for what is coming. And what is coming, I think, as you've just indicated, it is not just robots, Bezos at Amazon talking about replacing 400,000 workers and other companies doing similar things. It is impacting entry-level jobs for college graduates. There is no profession out there that is not going to be hit. So I think you're going to see massive job loss. And I think also what you are seeing now is literally a cognitive decline among young people in this country. Their attention spans is greater than our worst, significantly worse. I worry very much what used to be science fiction, that the computers will take over. There is now a legitimate fear that artificial general intelligence will not only become smarter than human beings, they'll be able to communicate with each other independent of humanity and the implications of that. The tariffs have wiped out jobs. They've decimated sectors of the economy. They've shifted trade relationships permanently, pushing Canada toward China and the EU rather than the United States. And for what? Trump's own statements make clear he uses tariffs for personal leverage, not national benefit. He gets upset about something, he imposes tariffs. Someone flatters him, he removes them. Markets can't function with that level of unpredictability. Businesses can't plan. Consumers pay the price. The China pays the tariffs. Lie has finally been exposed. Americans understand now that they're the ones paying higher prices. That understanding is settling in. It's showing up in polls, and it's why Republicans are revolting. Here's what these 2 defeats reveal about Trump's political position. First, his DOJ can't deliver on his threats. Prosecuting political opponents was supposed to be the centerpiece of his second term. The grand jury rejection shows that even with a compliant attorney general, the legal system has limits. Juries won't indict people for telling soldiers to follow the law. Second, his control over House Republicans is slipping. Johnson has lost functional control of his majority. 3 defections is all it takes to flip outcomes. And on tariffs, there are more than 3 Republicans who represent districts being hurt. Third, his economic policies are becoming politically toxic. The tariff vote will force every Republican to go on record. That's exactly what Johnson was trying to prevent. Now it's unavoidable. Fourth, the appearance of strength is fading. Trump's power has always been more theatrical than real. He projects dominance through threats and spectacle. When the threats fail and the spectacle produces results like these, the illusion cracks. Here's what to watch in the coming weeks. Watch the tariff vote. How many Republicans defect? Does it actually pass the House? Even if Trump vetoes it, the vote totals will reveal his eroding support. Watch for more prosecution failures. If the grand jury rejected this case, others may fail too. Trump's DOJ is not as powerful as he pretends. Watch Mike Johnson's position. He's lost control of his majority on a major issue. More defections on other votes could follow. His speakership looks increasingly unstable. Watch Trump's response. When he feels weak, he lashes out. Expect attacks on the 3 Republicans who defected. Expect escalating rhetoric. The desperation will be visible. Trump threatened lawmakers with military tribunals.